My sister gave me some ginger that had sprouted before she could use it. Fortunately, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. I made ginger ale and I planted the remaining parts to grow my very own ginger at home. I'm Marcy McDonald with Pacific Northwest Suburban Homesteading. A few years ago, I grew curious about making my own homemade soft drinks. Most of the information out there is about adding carbonated water to a syrup base. I wanted to try something different, and I found a great science experiment blog for making homemade ginger ale. I've shared the link in the description. There is some disagreement about whether this is ginger ale or ginger beer. Like many things on the internet, there is no real consensus. Generally, ginger ale is ginger flavored syrup with added carbonated water. Ginger beer is a fermented drink. Even commercial companies don't agree about the name. I'm calling what I'm making ginger ale because it is what the recipe creator called it, and it has negligible alcohol, only the minimal trace of any food or drink made with yeast to add bubbles. Ginger ale or ginger beer? It is a fun project with a tasty payoff. It doesn't take much equipment, just regular kitchen tools, plus a 2-liter bottle I saved and washed and air-dried thoroughly. The first step is to cut and grate your ginger. It is easier to grate smaller pieces, but if you have a small piece of ginger to begin with, you really don't need to cut it. I also chose to cut mine because I wanted to save the sprouted parts to plant. I'm using a microplane grater, but a regular box grater with a fine-tooth side will work just fine. I didn't have a lemon, which is called for in the recipes, so I used lime instead, which would work just fine for ginger ale. The idea is to add tartness to the recipe, and that is the reason for the lemon. It's optional on the recipe, but we like it that way. And measured out the yeast. I'm just using regular baking yeast. If you want to get fancy, there are champagne yeasts and other yeasts that you can get at brewing supply stores or online. This recipe works just fine with just plain old regular yeast that you would use to make bread. And then white sugar and filtered water. I use filtered water because it takes the chlorine out. Chlorine can be damaging to the yeast. I'm in a suburban homestead, so my water comes from the city, and the city treats all the water that we get. If you're on a well, this may not be as necessary, but because I'm on city water, I use a filter. All right, let's get started. I saved a plastic soda bottle for this. You don't want to use glass because as the yeast eats the sugar, it produces carbon dioxide gas. And when the gas goes off, it creates pressure. And the plastic has give, so it will pop the lid before it'll explode. But as mentioned in the original source, glass can be dangerous because glass can explode because it doesn't have any give as the gas builds up. So I washed out a soda bottle and removed the label so we can see all of what's going on inside of there. If you want to get really careful, you can use the sanitizing wash that's available through brewing stores or whatever. I just give it a good old-fashioned soap and water clean, rinsed it really good. I've had no problems. All right, so first step is we put the sugar in the bottle. Next, we put the yeast. So you mix those all together really well. Really good. Next, we mix the juice and our ginger. I'm gonna make a slurry. Now the slurry goes in the bottle. It's okay if it doesn't want to go down the funnel right away, because we're going to be pouring a bunch of water in there that will help wash it down. Doesn't look like mine wants to go in. It didn't have as much juice because the lime was smaller than a lemon, but it's what I had. That slurry is pretty thick, so it doesn't want to go down. It's going to take a bit of urging. Looks like I'm going to need some help. Butter knife. Sometimes it just needs a bit of persuasion. Pour the water to wash down all the little bits stuck in the funnel. And we will fill this until the water is up to about an inch from the top. We want to have plenty of headspace for the gases to build up. Again, you don't want the thing to explode. It might be kind of fun, but it'll be a serious mess in your kitchen. Let's save exploding for when we want to do things on purpose. So, about an inch. Normally when I do science stuff, I like to be a lot more precise. I like to weigh out things. I like to measure things very precisely. But this is kitchen science. Kitchen science is a little more flexible. So we have about an inch. That's good enough for this. And now we put the lid on our bottle. Nice and tight, because now we want to integrate our sugar and our yeast with our water. Jiggling it a bit to get the stuff out of the bottom. So right now we just started, so there's a lot of flex. If I squeeze it, it gives. I'll be checking it every day until that doesn't really happen. As soon as it's nice and hard, we will refrigerate it. Refrigeration will slow down the consumption of the sugar from the yeast, and then we will be able to drink our soda. And now we wait. I have it stored over here. You keep it at room temperature. We'll just keep checking every day until it is done. Okay, it's been about a day. Let's give this a check. Yeah, so it still squishes a little bit, so definitely not under pressure. See, got a little bit of bubbles along the edge there, so we're getting a little bit of yeast action there. That's all a good sign. You see things kind of moving around in there. All right, let's check it tomorrow. Now let's give it a check. There isn't much give at all. It's not like before. You can actually see where the level has gone down, where probably because of all the carbon dioxide gas that's been caught in there. There's a little bit of give. We probably could put this in the refrigerator. As soon as this chills, we could crack it open and give it a taste.
Lots of ginger stuff.
So now we are at the moment of truth. I'm going to give this just a little bit of a swirl here. This was made last week.
Oh, okay.
Earlier this week. Actually, real fermented. Yeah. Oh, very thoroughly carbonated. A lot of
Really,
carbonation in this.
really fermented.
And we're still real tight too. Gotta release some. I'm getting some give in the bottle though. We're starting. I think we're reaching the point where we're almost depressurized. Huh? Huh? Are we reaching equalization? It's getting there. I'm just impressed by the amount of carbonation in this.
Yeah, like.
There's a lot of carbonation in this. Okay. Up. And just when I thought it was done.
There. Oh.
I think what I'm gonna have to do is just take the top off and pour some of it off into a cup so that it's got more head space. Okay. We ready?
No. Oh. Maybe not. Okay.
Okay. Put the other one. So this has got a couple of variations on it. This has a lime used instead of a lemon.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Smell the ginger on that one.
Cheers.
I like it. Oh. The lime actually works.
Yeah,
I can taste the
really
difference.
well.
Yeah.
Much more better kick to it too.
Mm-hmm.
Not too sweet either.
No.
I hope you've enjoyed my demonstration and want to give it a try yourself. If you're interested in seeing how this homemade version stands up against commercially produced ginger ales and beers, I'll be releasing a longer version of this video. In it, I'll show taste testing of a panel of different ones in addition to the how-to portion. Thanks for watching. Until next time, be curious, keep an open mind, and never stop learning.